My Wyndham was an art event that included 30 artists in 15 venues of all different types of art. The project ran for 6 weeks in Willimantic, Connecticut. Willimantic is a very vibrant town in eastern Connecticut. It has a wonderful arts and cultural community, and it also has Eastern Connecticut State University, which is in the process of building a new fine arts center.
The My Wyndham project was important because it brought together disparate elements of the community, not only various kinds of artists, painters, graphic artists, visual artists, performing artists, but it brought together restaurants and community development organizations so that the whole community was represented and had a chance to interact.
I'm a representative from the theater, and I serve on the Wyndham Economic Development Commission, and we're very much involved with economic development. The Arts District downtown has just been spontaneously popping up.
Sometimes the aspects of economic development aren't very sexy. You know, it's roads and it's gas lines and sewer lines, but there's also an aspect of economic development involved in quality of life, and My Wyndham project fit right into that.
This was a very complex project, and Gail brought together some fascinating people. It was the first time I've seen the town, the university, and the arts community really come together on a project.
And the arts are always like on the bottom of the list. We'll eliminate that first. And for a project like this to be in Willimantic, it's very important to bring art and to expose people that have not studied the arts, that are not familiar with the arts. And it just, I love doing artwork that makes you scratch your head and go, what is that? And it just makes somebody, whether it's a regular painting or a sculpture, makes somebody think about what's going on. And there are different occupations in life, and these are the artists, and this is what they do.
Initially, what I wanted to do for the project was to somehow bring a little bit of Willimantic's history to its main street. I felt a lot of the residents that have, moved here or were from generations down from when the mills disappeared in the early 80s, that they really had no awareness of the town and felt a little bit kind of disconnected from it. So my thing was to look through the old postcards and old photographs that the Mill Museum has on their archive and try to actually put them on transparencies up and down Main Street so people could see what's there now and what used to be, to try to create that connection with the town as it is and the town as it was.
My particular show brought out parents, brought out grandparents to be actively engaged and to also give them an idea of the type of activity that they may be able to do with their kids at home. I am so proud of the kids who got on stage and performed with me that night. They worked very hard at getting the music to sound good. And when we were all on stage together and they produced the quality of music with the level of positive energy that they put out, I felt this incredible amount of pride.
I'm a performance writer. By that I mean I write for radio, television, stage, screen, art galleries. A lot of my work is performed in art galleries, and it's a graphic representation of the performance. If you look at my pieces, you can see that there's a lot of visual and colorful elements in there, and the performers are supposed to enact those colors. If not only say these words, but say them in a way that a green squiggle means something to you. I had 3 pieces of I call it performance writing, because I do a graphic element, a visual element, and it's meant to be interpreted by another party. Lutznitz and the Ozark Mountain Whippoorwills is the name of this piece, and it has a certain humor to it, I hope, and it has graphic elements as well as words, and the performers are supposed to improvise around both those words and those images.
Willimantic was a place available for artwork. People just wanted something to happen there, and they were delighted to see something happen and to put something up there to kind of liven some very, very blank areas of that little strip of Main Street there, the historic downtown.
The title of the piece is Yellow Slingshot and Red Rock, an installation based upon the environment that was already there. When I knew that this project was coming up, and I was thinking about places in town that were interesting, and I noticed this tree in this rock formation, and I thought, I'm going to make a slingshot there. A slingshot is a tool, a weapon of some type, and you pull the string and let the rock go and hit your goal, hopefully. And Willimantic is a place really where one person can make an impact. And so the message was that the art community here is going to make an impact. And I feel like it did. I think that we held up to that. So part of what, for me, is interesting about art is that it makes you pause for a moment and look at it. And right across the street from the slingshot is a school. And in that schoolroom were a bunch of art kids having their lessons every day, and they were very interested in the artwork, and they would have conversations with their teacher about what is it, why is it there, how come it's all there all of a sudden. And so she assigned them, after having a discussion with me about what it is and the fact that a slingshot takes aim at something that's important to you, and you hopefully hit your target. And she had them draw conceptually what they would take target at. What do they want to take aim at? What kinds of changes do they want to make? And we got some very beautiful ideas from the kids, and also some funny, silly ones as well, and some that I don't really understand. But all thinking about this work.
The title of the piece that we worked on was The Yarn Bombing, which was a yarn installation made out of pieces of knit and woven yarn that were wrapped around trees in downtown Willimantic. Between the Visual Arts Club and the Knitting Club, there were probably about 15 students involved in this project total. It started around the beginning of Main Street by Town Hall and ended near the Frog Bridge. One of the reasons why everyone loved this project is because it was a place-making event where the installation changed the way that the streets looked, giving it another vibrance and patches of these colors, and just something experimental and fun for the whole community to see.
The name of the piece is Brookie, which is short for brook trout. It's a native species of fish to the state. I thought when I first heard about the project that it would be interesting to suspend some type of artwork from one of the bridges in town. The Garden Bridge was perfect, had an arch, and it wasn't too high, and it was a perfect spot to suspend the piece so that it would be sort of symmetrical, and it had just a really nice space for it, so that's where it ended up being. Fish is 10 feet long and about 4 feet tall. It was made of tubular steel with window screening stretched over the top of it and spray painted with the colors of the fish. It was also balanced like a weather vane, so that when it was suspended from one of the bridges, it would sway in the wind. We had 4 students helping. Some were involved with the construction of it, some were involved with the painting. All of them were pretty much involved with the installation of the piece.
The title of my piece for the My Wyndham project, I would just call it like Froggy Footprints, because they're just footprints down Main Street. I created them using a box and lots of spray paint that fortunately Eastern, through the grant, gave me, and I could do a ton of them. I started putting the footprints on Bridge Street, and then I went all the way down to the Heritage Park. I came up with this idea because I know Wyndham is just like all frog crazy, so I was like, how could I incorporate frogs in some way? So I was like, footprints, like as if like the frogs were literally among us going down the streets. One of the challenges I came across during this project was getting the permits to do the actual footprints. Once I got the permits, it was fine, everyone was supportive. I did them all down the street with no problems. I was driving through town and I saw a little kid hopping through the frog footprints, which is exactly what I wanted. I mostly did it for little kids, when you go to like little kids museums and you see the footprints on the ground. So I was like, yes, achieved, got it. That was the main goal.
I felt that I had some work that would definitely promote the city, since it has a frog motif. And frogs and toads have always been something very special to me. The name of the piece is We're All Going Together. It's a mixed media project, so there's many materials. There's concrete frog heads that I made a big clay piece and then took a mold off of and cast those. Then there is a fiberglass frog heads, which are the colorful ones. The tadpoles were another mold, and it's a rotocast system, taking resin, pouring it in the mold, and then rotating it so the resin goes all throughout, and it makes it very thin and very light. If you look at the sculpture, it has not only frog legs, people, but it has human legs too, because we're all in this together. I like to talk to my students about what I'm doing, and bring them down here, and hopefully get them excited about working in collective projects.
So I went during the winter, because it's the only time you can sort of see the river, and took hundreds of photographs of the river. And then I wrapped an old gas station building that was on the site with the images of the river. I then placed rocks along it so that you could go on a journey and see the river by walking around the building. All of this to draw attention to the river and to the fact that every time we drive over the bridge, there is a magnificent river raging below. The river was the center of the town before, and we need to make it the center of the town again.
I think the best thing about Willimantic today is its ability to reinvent itself from a more industrial past into an art scene and a services-oriented area.
Our town needs the perception of it to be that it is this great, funky, artsy, cultural town, and we want to keep that.
That's how you end up, creating that town pride again. That's how you actually bring people into your town. That's how you create an economy in your town, is by using what resources you have, which are the theater, the arts, the culture, local business, all banding together. If you look at, Amherst, Northampton, what was it, North Adams, Massamoka, these are all towns that, went through a decline once industry left and are now pretty much beating on both the higher education, local business, and the creative arts in that community.
My hopes for the future of this show is that even more businesses and artists and people will become involved, and hopefully as it continues, it'll grow and become even bigger and bigger.